So I think I've got this new mental illness, and this one's deadly, but I think it might be more deadly for you than for me. I think I got monotone voice. I was just watching this new director's cut documentary by Robert Stark, and I'm in it. And man, do I drone like a son of a gun. I mean, this is deadly, like my deadly droning. And here's the thing, you know, I've always been a droner, live my life droning on, and I'll be droning on, and droning on, and droning on. Yeah. So I do this show with Kevin Michael Grace, and he's got this dramatic voice. I mean, he's a true professional. And when I watch back our shows, I've got this monotone voice, otherwise known as tired voice. Just, So, this is deadly. I gotta do something about my monotone voice. I don't want to be dragging Kevin Michael Grace down with my deadly droning monotone voice. Yeah, I'm tired. Yeah, I'll admit it. Not getting enough sleep. Wow. Last 2 days. Terrible night's sleep. When I can't sleep, I put on a book on War and Peace. Well, this podcast, they do a chapter of War and Peace a day, because there are 361 chapters in War and Peace, and then discuss it. And I just had it on all night because I just couldn't sleep. So I need to practice better sleep hygiene so I can give you the high quality video streams without the tired monotone voice. You don't tune in for the monotone voice, right? You want the high quality, dramatic Kevin Grace style speaking voice. So I need to get the sleep so that I can provide the high quality YouTube streaming. Whoa, okay, monotone voice. Note to self, research monotone voice. Start, one of the suggestions for overcoming monotone voice is to read to children, read from children's books, because it will give you an incentive to take on different voices and to play more. So, Chuck didn't stay in his lane. So, start going around the neighborhood and reading children's books. I think it should be a big success. Okay, next mental illness. I think I got ADHD. I got a call from someone in the program today, and she was and we started thinking about it, and like every addict we know seems to have ADHD. It seems to have many, if not most, of the symptoms of ADHD, this restless, irritable, and discontent that talks about in the big book. A friend of mine briefly dated a sex addiction therapist, and I ended up interviewing her about 8 years ago, and she told me that every one of her clients has ADHD. Every sex addict she knows has ADHD. So I think I got ADHD, bro. I don't want to take medication. I want to do something else, but I got to look into that ADHD thing. Because like all the symptoms of ADHD, they also fit underrunning, they fit deading, they addiction, all sorts of addictions. The characteristics of addicts just seem to fit ADHD. So I appreciate, Norma, that you've learned to spot the very subtle changes in my voice quality. So I appreciate that. But boy, when I listen, it's like drone. I've always been a droner, live my life droning on, and I'll be droning on, and droning on, and droning on to the end. Woo-hoo. Okay, next mental illness. I discovered this one a few years ago. I'm pretty sure I got maladaptive daydreaming. Okay, that's worse than cancer. Maladaptive daydreaming. So if you're a kid, someone punctured a hole in your soul, you learned to bliss out by daydreaming, started out as adaptive, and then because it was a way that would enable you to bliss out of your problems, start doing more and more and more daydreaming, so you don't pay attention in school, you don't pay attention in your social interactions, become increasingly isolated. As you become more isolated, you become more miserable. Get out of feeling miserable, you start daydreaming more and more and more, get lost in fantasy, build up these delusions of grandeur, start blissing out to increasingly, or say, eroticized fantasies, or just grandiosity fantasies that you're an incredibly powerful person, incredibly important person, incredibly influential person. And you walk down the street and you mutter to yourself, oh, I'm the new sheriff in town. So yeah, maladaptive daydreaming. And a lot of these things, I think they're a symptom of not being in the present moment. Okay, when you're daydreaming, you're checking out of reality, you're checking out of the present moment. And wow, so Stephen says the most serious mental illness is the constant use of the word like. So we'll see how I'm doing with that one. But what's that called when you disengage? Come on, I have women told me that I'm like this, where you're just not present. Come on, what's the term for that when you're not present, when you disengage, when you're disassociation. Yeah, I got disassociation. I got like dissociation maladaptation disorder or something like that. It's got to be in the DSM-4. And oh, by the way, I was talking to someone in one of my money programs today, and he said that under-earning is in the latest DSM. So I don't think it's literally under-earning, but I got to look that up. Like this poverty consciousness, or this fear of success, or this living a small life, hiding and biting. It's in the DSM. It's real, bro. It's real. It's in the DSM. Under-earning. It's a real disease. It's worse than cancer. So disassociation. So I went to bed with Kendra Jade. Okay, it all begins with AOL Messenger. So it was 19, okay, I don't have the like disorder. That's one mental illness I don't have, at least not severe. Really. So I was chatting with Kendra Jade on AOL Messenger in 1998, and my website had become this huge success. It just blown up. I was getting 10,000-15,000 visitors a day, and I was really feeling my oats. So I made a very lewd suggestion to Kendra Jade, an esteemed actress in this genre that I was covering, and she said sure. So whoa. So she came over, and I showed her my computer, I showed her my website, and one thing led to another. And afterwards we were like lying back, and it always usually creates a feeling of intimacy after you do intimate things. For me, I start feeling more intimate about a person. And so she told me, you know how they say that all porn stars are sexually abused as kids, and we always say it's not true? And she said, well, I think it is true. It's certainly true for me. I was sexually abused as a kid, and so I learned to disassociate. And so when I have sex, I'm not really in my body. It's like I float out of my body, and I'm up on the ceiling kind of looking down on what's happening. And so I've had a lot of people tell me that I seem to be disassociated, not really present, or just my emotional responses are not appropriate. People always telling me not appropriate. That was something I got a lot. Maybe I don't get that as much anymore. Remember, I went on this singles trip to Israel, and I kind of had a thing for the trip leader. But when we'd go around visiting these various Jewish institutions, I'd keep saying these things that were really inappropriate, according to this woman. And she dated me for a few months afterwards, or a few weeks. See, I'm a liar. I'm telling you there was a few months, and it was a few weeks. And then she said, I think we want different things. That's what successful women always say to me when they break up. It's like, look, we want different things. You want to live in a hovel. I want to live in a mansion in Beverly Hills. Okay? You're content with earning $40,000 a year. Like, I want to earn very much into six figures, and I want a maid who earns the same. Now, they don't provide those details, but the nice way they express it is, I think we just want different things. That's what successful women always say to me. I met this woman on JSwipe, and seemed like it was going well, and then she said, well, where do you live? And I told her, and haven't heard from her since. So I guess on a JSwipe profile it says she was into real estate investing. She was Persian, and she lived in Beverly Hills. So she lost interest. So yeah, disassociation. So that's kind of like daydreaming in a way. It's not really being present, and probably leads to monotone voice, tired voice, disassociation. Yeah, press like to boost Luke's self-esteem, help him to break out of the iron steel shackles of maladaptive daydreaming, ADHD, and what are the other things I got? I got a lot of them. So, suggestion that I should dye my hair if I want to get the younger women. Well, I used to dye my hair at low impulse control. I got that. Yeah, I got low impulse control. I started going gray at age 27. I started using Grecian formula at age 27, and I would just pour it on. Particularly as I moved through my 30s, and it didn't cut it. Like, there'd be like whole swaths of my hair that remained gray, despite my best efforts, because I guess I wasn't doing it right. I don't tend to pay attention to details because I got ADHD, bro. It's a disease. It's worse than cancer. I'm the victim here. I'm not really a detail guy. I'm more of like a big picture guy. I'm not the guy you want checking the engines before the plane takes off. And so because I did such a lousy job with the Grecian formula, I would just start dyeing my hair. And then of course it would grow out, and so the roots would be gray, then more and more of my hair would be gray, but like the ragged edges would be black. And then I just don't think Judaism approves of dyeing your hair for men. Like, that's something women do. I don't think men are supposed to dye their hair from a Torah perspective. Thank you. I look roguishly handsome back in my early porn years. Thank you, Norman. And so I just stopped dyeing my hair in early 2008 and started growing a beard. And so now, no more dye on my hair. My Chinese blood keeps the ear hair from sprouting. No, I just use my shaver. I just like get right into my ear and like I tried to ask these girls if they would mind like trimming my ear hairs, but they didn't seem to be really into it. So, I mean, I thought it'd be a big turn on for them. You know, one of the best measures of your cardiovascular health is whether you can maintain an erection when she's on top. Because like, if you can't maintain an erection when she's on top and she's an attractive woman, like, that's a sign of poor cardiovascular health. So the strength of your erections is one of the best tests for your cardiovascular health. And I think it's probably also how far you can shoot. It's like I remember when I was a teenager, I'd like shoot across the room, and then as I aged, kind of my reach and my strength of my rising to the occasions rapidly began to diminish, and my hair started turning gray. And at least I got the comfort of the pursuit of wisdom. So no matter my frailties of health, at least I'm a lover of wisdom. So yeah, check that out. Strength of your erections, good measure of your cardiovascular health. So if you're not really rising to the occasion, no, Viagra is cheating. I mean, I'm not saying you shouldn't use Viagra, but if you can't stay strong without Viagra, it means that you got poor cardiovascular health. And I want you to be healthy. I want you to be